Good day and welcome to the show. On today's episode, we zoom into Betway Premiership, Nedbank Cup, and then after that, we go straight to West Africa, and then we dive straight to the Ghanaian Premier League. After that, we go straight to North Africa. We see what's happening in as far as the Egyptian Premier League, and then English Premier League. Surely, it is not gonna be omitted. We look at what's happening in as far as the Manchester City and Arsenal race is concerned. La Liga, that is Spanish football for you, is also on the menu. We'll also look a little bit in what's happening in as far as Italian football is concerned. And then in T20 cricket, it is still very much with us. The T20 Cricket World Cup continues out in Asia, which is currently co-hosted by India and Sri Lanka. As we wrap our today's episode, we zoom in what's happening in as far as rugby is concerned. That is 6 nations for you. And there was also a little bit of a Vodacom United Rugby Championship action this past weekend. Modiba, getting closer to home. What happened over the weekend? No one, I mean no one, would have scripted what unfolded on Saturday.
Definitely.
Nedbank Cup surely will never be the same following what transpired over the weekend. Big giants crunching, falling all over, left, right, and center.
As they always say, Kiyonaya Rona, it's a cup of dreams, a cup of surprises, cup of upsets. I think we witnessed some upsets this past weekend where Mamelodi Sundowns crashed out. Orlando Pirates as well. No one saw it coming because of this is a team that has gone to 3 successive finals.
They are the kings of cups. As far as South African football is
They've
concerned.
got what is called cup pedigree. As you know, they won it twice. Remember the Sundowns win as well as Kuku United. Then on the third successive final, they lost to Kaizer Chiefs, of which Kaizer Chiefs as well needed to break that cup drought of 10 years without a trophy. So then on Saturday, Mamelodi Sundowns lost to TS Galaxy by 2-0, where I expected Sundowns to win. But when I saw the lineup, I was questioning the coach decision, Miguel Cardoso, to say, why do we make wholesale changes, whereas the team has done well midweek against Orlando Pirates, winning by 2-1. So you check on the other side, TS Galaxy and were underdogs, but then on the other side, looking at the fact that this is a team that shocked Kaizer Chiefs. Remember in 2020 when they were crowned champions at the Moses Mabhida by that solitary goal to nil. So on that day, they capitalized from Mamelodi Sundowns errors. Sundowns made unforced errors. You check, Divine Lunga was trying to build the ball at the back, then Spamandla Ngwenya exposed them and put the ball in the back
Sure,
of the
that was
net.
high school area. That's professional
Exactly.
football. How on earth from you are playing for as a left back from outside, and then that's good. That was good as a cross for
Exactly.
Divine Lunga to make that pass.
And he knows very well.
That was a hospital pass.
He's an
to be
experienced
exact.
player. He's played at Golden Arrows. He's also played for the national team of Zimbabwe. So you don't expect such schoolboy errors. And then the second goal, there was a tackle inside the box where I felt, is it Tato Sbia? I think that's the lack of experience for him. In that instance, you don't tackle because the player was a little bit blindsided with the goal post. And this is where we saw Junior Zindonga, and then slotting the ball past Tony Sonyango to put, they call them Siadomoza, the Rockets, ahead by 2-0. So on that note, they held on. Sundowns tried to make those subs, bringing in the likes of Tembazwane, but on the day, it wasn't their day. So which took me back to what I've been saying here on the show that, okay, you want to conquer Africa, but domestically you're not doing well. Nedbank Cup out, MTN 8 out, Canning Knockout out, which means now you're going to focus on 2 trophies, the Betway Premiership as well as the CAF Champions League. So I think the coach as well will have pressure. But let's see as he might shift focus to the Betway Premiership match this coming midweek against Amazulu at the Moses Mabhida Stadium.
You spoke about the wholesale changes that were made by Mamelodi Sundowns head coach. Surely, one of the talking point is the last line of defense in as far as Mamelodi Sundowns is concerned. That is the replacement of Ronwen Williams versus Dennis Onyanga. Considering that Dennis Onyanga was in goal, how much of the influence did that have, especially looking at that game? And considering that Ronwen Williams, we know him that he plays as some kind of a sweeper goalkeeper. The way he plays, he activates that 11 player Mamelodi Sundowns.
He's a goalkeeper who always link up play. He starts the moves with the defense and very comfortable on the leg. And you compare him with Denis Onyango. Denis Onyango is a good showstopper. As we know, he's just achieved well with Mamelodi Sundowns, starting from back at Supersport. Then he stayed longer at Mamelodi Sundowns. Mamelodi Sundowns, at some point, they won the likes of your MTN 8, Telkom knockout. Kaizer Chiefs comes to mind, where you remember he saved those 2 penalties in the final against the Cape Town City in that MTN 8 final. He saved 5 penalties. You could see that this is an Ugandan experience by its nature. But then on the day, I think he was let down by his defense. But then at least let's give the coach credit, Miguel Cardoso, to say you are giving him the benefit of the doubt, because this is a goalkeeper. If you can go back to their game, Chef Champions League match against Al Hilal, he also made a blunder there.
Who's
So
that?
Dennis Onyango,
Onyango, yes.
yes, then that's why Mamelodi Sundowns ended up losing that game by 2 goals to 1. So, but apart from that, I wouldn't blame him much. But the defense had to take the blame for the 2 goals they've conceded, and this is a repeat of what we've seen previously when Mamelodi Sundowns lost to the same TS Galaxy in the Kaleng Knockout Cup. If you can go, I think 2 to 3 seasons ago, where even Bernard Parker's leg was broken by their former midfielder Bongani Zungu, who's currently at Amazulu.
Looking at Mamelodi Sundowns, they made surely that wholesale changes. We're talking a minimum of 10 players that Mamelodi Sundowns introduced in that match. What do you make of that? Will you contribute their loss to that wholesale changes that Michael Cardoso made, or the script was already scripted that they were always going to lose to TS Galaxy?
Definitely, I'll blame those changes because he's made 10 changes. Only one player survived who played against Orlando Pirates, of which I question that to say, if it's not broken, why fix it? That's the main principle, which, in my experience, every time I watched coaches, they always like to tamper with that principle, to make unnecessary changes, whereas you've done well midweek, you've won, although under pressure. But let's give Pirates credit, because Pirates on the day, they suffocated them. It's just that Orlando Pirates lost that game because they didn't take their chances in the first half. And as well, let's credit Ronan Williams, where he denied the likes of Lemofuke and Patrick Maswangani not to put the ball in the back of the net. But then for them to lose that game is because of those wholesale changes.
Still with the Nedbank Cup, let's just zoom in to last year's finalist and South Africa's kings of cups, that is the Orlando Pirates, ezimnyama ngenkani ezikaMagebhula ezagebhula umhlaba kamasipala zawushiya uMapeketwane. Let's zoom into their game. I asked you last week that what is your prediction in as far as that David versus Goliath clash of Orlando Pirates versus the Modiba Foundation Championship outfit in the form and shape of Castric Stars. You said on paper it is all systems go for Orlando Pirates. Then I ask you, let's leave what is on paper. When, as Johannes Peta, what is your take? What can you expect? You're still stuck to your guns. You said Orlando Pirates will run away victorious. Fast forward, it is history what eventually went down when Maskame Minzela is scored. And while it's hit, Orlando Pirates, they put in their best 11. What went wrong?
What a surprise, because I thought Orlando Pirates has learned from their past mistakes. Do you still remember when they lost to that team from Maluti Ep4 College, yes, from First State?
That's 2014.
Yes, that's 2014, 2013,
Yes.
2014 season by 4 goals to 1. So I thought they've learned their lesson. And I think 2 to 3 seasons ago, they also met this team called Dondol Stars, where that team stretched Orlando
From
Pirates
Pretoria.
until the penalties. But at least Sipho China had to be the hero on that day because of one of the Dondol Stars players didn't take that penalty very well. So then, yes, in that game, I felt because of they're coming from a loss against Mamelodi Sundowns, they're going to the home game wounded. Although there are criticisms from the fans to say, why did the management take that game at FNB Stadium? So they felt it is a neutral venue for them. So they're used to playing their matches at the Orlando Stadium. So, but then on that day, yes, the coach. There was also some criticism to say why there is no talent in Bata, although Masindi Namtangela, this performance wasn't pleasing at all. But then you check in particular Pirates, they got plenty of chances in that game. But let's credit the goalkeeper Wandile Mtombeni of the very same Castric Stars, whom currently they are fourth in the Modiba Foundation, doing absolutely well, trying to challenge for the league title as well, with the likes of your Melfort FC, who's currently top of the standings, and they've done well, also winning by 3 goals to 0 in their last 16 match. So, but then you check their defensive organization, well structured and very disciplined. They came without fear at Orlando Stadium, because I've seen majority of the Betway Premiership sides. Every time they visit Orlando Stadium, they always get nervous and they ended up being cowards by playing a low block without getting out of their shell. But that team, you could see that at the start of the match, they made the intentions clear that we want to get to at least a goal and sit back. So I think they got one of 2 to 3 chances where one of the strikers missed the chance, where even Sipochene also deserved credit at some point. So in the second half, he made a save. But Perez, they got plenty of chances. Patrick Masanganya, Relebohile Mofokeng, you can name them all. But that defense was just rock solid. And at some point, they tried to utilize transition to catch Perez. But Perez, at least, because you've got Mpocha who's been given an opportunity, because Nati CBC as well, they did well without conceding. So on that day, I think the Perez have got themselves to blame because they tried everything. They could have played until tomorrow without putting the ball in the back of the net because of that defense of Castle Stars was just absolutely solid. And then they had to go to a lottery of penalties where I felt maybe Orlando Perez might have not practiced those penalties because of majority of the penalties
It's the knockout. They should have practiced them.
they pulled the ball wide. Maybe I'm thinking maybe they were expecting an easy goal because of when I did a preview at the venue, because I was at the venue on Saturday. I told one of the Ama fans too that Pirates will win easily because of they're very difficult at the Orlando Stadium and they always want to do well with the Nedbank Cup. As you know, there's too much hype from the fans to say this cup is ours. Kaizer Chiefs is no longer out, and there was excitement as well to say Sundowns are out. Now we will go all the way to the final, but it wasn't the case. As I've just said it at the start that this is a cup of dreams, cup of surprise, cup of shockings as well.
Looking at the Orlando Pirates' loss, and also considering that they are the kings of cups in as far as South African football is concerned, their loss, if there is someone that someone has to take a blame, will you put it on the coach's doorstep or the players? They are the one that should shoulder the blame this time around.
The players, I'll take the blame to the players as well. Why can't you convert your chances? But at the same time, you go to the fans were just unhappy with the coach to say, you must listen to us as the fans. Jose Rivero has left the club and the setup that is done there, you should have stuck to it and progress because of as Pirates, we've signed quality. As Pirates, we've signed quality to compete and win. Because the main aim of the Pirates fans were to say, we're going to go for all out for quadruple. We need to grab all the trophies on offer, but it wasn't the case. So on the day, I'll blame the players, although the fans is the opposite way of Coach Abdeslam Wado to say, you come from Marumo Gallants, you come and dish out your players who were playing there. You are Daniel Msadami, Masidina Mtanjela, Mpocha Batsani. So they were not also happy with that to say, why is Evidence Mahopa not in the starting 11? Why is Talented Mbata not in the starting 11s? Why did the team allow Mabasa to go and join Stellenbosch as well as Mpekezani Mbogazi to go abroad at Chicago Fire? Overseas. So those are some of the criticisms they made with regard to Coach Abdeslam Wado. But then I got surprised to say the fans sometimes they can surprise you because at the start of the season, remember Perez lost to Skoko United by 1-0 and also Marumo Gallants 2-1. They said the coach must go. Then the coach came in. I even came out to say, be patient with the coach. It's his first season. Definitely will win something. After winning the MTN8, no, Abdeslam is a good coach. He knows football. Look at his tactics. Even the way he puts the ball on the chest and whatsoever. So then he comes up and loses against Sundowns. No, the coach must go. And then they continued again because it was just a bit weak for Orlando Pirates. You lose a league game against Mamelodi Sundowns and also against the Castle Stars over the weekend. Then the coach is a bad coach. For me, you can't win them all. To the Pirates fans out there, if I were to advise them, you can't win them all. In football, there are 3 permutations. You win, you lose, or you draw. That's all.
Still with the Nedbank Cup, surely with the 3 giants having fallen out, there is your Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates, and Mamelodi Sundowns. It is obvious that come end of this tournament, it is anyone's trophy. We've seen 2 Pumalanga teams beating 2 Gauteng teams over the weekend. We see there's a lot of representation from KwaZulu-Natal. So it is anyone's game. But if you were to use your experience and looking at how the Nedbank Cup has developed so far, any team that you single out that you tip to eventually walk away victorious come end of the Nedbank Cup?
It's a tricky one, but I'm looking at Golden Arrows under the leadership of Coach Ngcobo, where, remember when they played Marumo Gallants in that semi-final of the Kali knockout, they played absolutely well. It's just that on the day, Marumo Gallants utilized their tactics well and ended up winning the game on penalties, where I'll give credit to their goalkeeper, Washington Arubi. That's where they made things difficult for Golden Arrows. But Golden Arrows, they've assembled huge quality of players, quality, and the coach as well is very master tactician, Ngcobo. We knew him back at Mamelodi Sundowns as he has served there the entire 11 years. So he's He's also, while I was listening to him say, I'm eyeing for this Nedbank Cup, to say, if I get to win the Nedbank Cup, I'll get that passport to go and play in the CAF Confederations Cup. So because of the big guns are out. So for me, I'm eyeing golden arrows. Although some are also bringing Amazulu into the picture, because we saw they won 1-0 against Richards Bay on Friday.
KZN Derby, yes.
After either KZN Derby, also saw the very same Kambati against Milford FC, which means this team is full of KZN sides,
Yes,
including
yes.
Mpumalanga two
Yeah,
teams
this
as
time,
well.
yeah, yes.
So then I'm expecting him to do well, although I think he might want to rewrite history of what transpired in 2009 when the Golden Arrows won 6-0 against Ajax Cape Town in the MTN 8 final. So for me, I'll go to with Ngcobo, but Athazwan, I don't trust him much, but because of at some point he lacks consistency. But Ngcobo, having seen the improvement of thrashing Orbit College 3-0 and then comes up and win again without conceding 3 matches now, so he's on the right track.
Oh, yes, by the look of things, surely Nedbank Cup, and looking at the number of KZN teams, it looks like the 2026 Nedbank Cup might just go to KZN, because there's a lot of teams who are still in this knockout coming from that part of the world that is in KZN. Now, moving away from the knockout football and go straight to the marathon, that is the league. Yes, Orlando Pirates, they might have bombed out of the Nedbank Cup. What does that mean? That simply means the dream of the quadruple, in as far as the Orlando Pirates is concerned, it is now out. They are facing the reality of the possibility of the treble, which takes me straight to the game that took the center stage last weekend. There was a hosted out at FNB Stadium, where Orlando Pirates were cruising with a 6 points lead. And then Mamelodi Sundowns, who happen to be the defending champions, they had other ideas. They knew exactly that if there's anyone who has to derail Orlando Pirates on their track, it will have to be them. They'll have to do it themselves and grab the ball by the scruff of the neck. And by the look of things, it looks like Mamelodi Sundowns, they did exactly that.
And the pressure for the Mamelodi Sundowns were to say, if they get to lose that game, Orlando Pirates will stretch the lead to 9 points.
9 points,
which
yes.
means they will be going to the derby high in confidence to say, we can surprise Kaizer Chiefs. We are a free scoring team. Relebo Mofokeng is doing absolutely well. Those 3 back-to-back men of the matches, 3 goals, 3 supplies. What more can you ask? I think for me, he's my player of the month. If the Betway Premiership were to announce a player of the month, definitely Relebo Mofokeng is the one for me, because I would have given also their coach, but then unfortunately he has lost because of usually PSL.
But Mofokeng, they pocketed him most last week.
They penalized a team which suffers a loss. But yes, they might have suffocated him, but then for me, it's done well.
was outshone him.
But so far, I think in terms of the accolades, I've watched him, the
Yes.
supplies, the goals, he stands a chance for being the player of the month. And for me, going forward, topic for another day, contender for football of the season as well as the player of the season. Those are my accolades for Relebo Mofokeng. What a player, what a star. So you are right to say the suffocated team, Khuliso Mudau
yeah.
of Mamelodi. We all know Khuliso Mudau has got an incredible recovery rate. Very difficult for you to expose the player. With the experience as well from Bafana. You also check his teammate, the Tapelo Morena. They were just combining well, exchanging that role to disrupt Relebo Mofokeng, because of he's the on-form player, the playmaker for Orlando Pirates, because of at some point he's been played at number 10, at some point as a winger, and those are some of the instances to say if he plays a free role, he's very lethal, very dangerous. So something that Mamelodi Sundowns technical team, Steve Compella and Miguel Cardoso, worked on. But on the day, I think they deserve credit as announced, because of they didn't play nice football for me. It's just that they got those chances, and then with the telepathy of Brian Leon, very clinical inside the box, punished Orlando Pirates, and for Pirates as well. What was he doing, allowing a player to just slot the ball in front of him? Poor defending there. So this is where the fans started to criticize the departure of Mbekezeli Mbogazi. But all in all, Mamelodi Sundowns utilized their experience. They showed that they're not the defending champions by fluke. They showed that they're able to grasp results where possible, because Orlando Pirates pressed them so hard and they managed to absorb pressure so well. And also singing out Ronan Williams.
I'm happy that you pointed out Relebogile Mofokeng's performance of late. If I'm not mistaken, since January, actually, I believe he's sitting. He has collected back-to-back Man of the Match awards, and in all those matches where Relebogile Mofokeng collected the Man of the Match awards, he was playing as a number 10. He was playing behind the strikers. He was not playing on the wing. You've always been advocating for why mend it if it is not
True,
broken.
yeah.
Let's zoom into the Orlando Pirates tactics and that he's been collecting Man of the Match awards if Edlala as number 10. All of a sudden, you are playing Mamelodi as Sundowns. You know very well that Mamelodi Sundowns, there is a best right back defender in the whole continent in
Yes.
the form and shape of Khuliso Motau. So why take the choir conductor of your team in the form of Relebogile Mofokeng from playing a free role, go behind the strikers, go number 10, where he's been orchestrating all the attacks here, all in the Pirates, and then you go and expose him to the best defender in the continent, because surely every moment you take to the left wing, he's got Khuluso Medao to deal with.
Yep.
He's got Tapelo
Morena.
Morena, who was playing as a right back. Surely he was always going to fall back and assist Khuluso Medao. To make it worse, there's also a touchline that Relebohile Mofokeng also had to deal with. That automatically means that Relebohile Mofokeng's room was compromised, especially considering the touchline. So why mend it? Why do you remove Relebohile Mofokeng from number 10, where he's been shining, to the place, to the position where he will be restricted?
You know, fans can talk. They even said the coach is a plumber. He doesn't know what he wants to do, referring to Abdeslam Wado. So they even said, okay, if you don't want to play him as a free role, where is Sipombule in that regard? Because maybe they would have wanted Sipombule to play against his former team, Mamelodi Sundowns. But then the coach changed tactics, which they were not happy with. And they even mentioned one of the players who did well, their future from the DDC, Simpue Silepe. Where is that player ever since he took over Abdeslam Wado? Because Regis Rivero has laid a foundation of giving those players a platform. Remember, even introduced at some point the young goalkeeper Siyabonga Dladla, who was doing well, despite having Melusi Buthelezi in goals. So for me, the coach made a blunder as well.
Orlando Pirates recently, of late, has lost 2 games within a period of how many? 48 to 72 hours. They lost to Sundowns on Wednesday, and then on Saturday they lost to the to the junior side. That is the Castric Stars. We're talking less than 72 hours. 2 games lost just like that. Orlando Pirates' next assignment, surely, it cannot be worse. It is the Soweto Derby. That is their next fixture. And they are coming from two back-to-back losses. Where to from here for Orlando Pirates, considering that their next assignment is Soweto Derby come this Saturday?
It's a very interesting one because they're going into this match wounded. And a wounded tiger can be very dangerous. That's according to my experience. And then you check Kaizer Chiefs, they're still going to play a league match against Stellenbosch before getting into that big Soweto derby. And on the other side, Perez will be saying, we've done well against Kaizer Chiefs in the past 2 seasons, doing the double over Kaizer Chiefs in those 2 seasons where they had Jose Rivero. Chiefs as well on the other side, they've got their problems of their own. They are not defending well. Should I say they're not scoring goals, but defending well? So something they need to work on. I think goal tally, being clinical inside the box, because I think the targets will be saying, let's keep an eye on Relebogile Mofokeng, because he's the only player who's always posing a threat. And this is a player who also scored when Kaizer Chiefs lost to Paris 2-1 last season. And also, I'm thinking they might return Evidence Mahopa because he's done well in the 3 Soweto derbies. He's played Kaizer Chiefs last season. So those are some of the permutations to say, as Brendan Peterson, you've done well ever since you played at Soweto derby. You've never lost Soweto derby as a goalkeeper, which is a good record as well. You look at, I don't know if, because of they also have problems of their own, to say there's no Inacio Miguel, there's no Aiden McCarthy. Inacio Miguel injured. Aiden McCarthy was suspended, so let's wait and see if they will be able to play against Stellenbosch for them to. But if you were to ask a Kaizer Chiefs fan or coach, they will say, "Hi, our most important team match will be Stellenbosch before the Orlando Pirates match." So I'm curious to see how they'll come up against Stellenbosch in terms of the lineup, because it's also a grudge game to say Stellenbosch have beaten Kaizer Chiefs in the Carling Knockout Cup last 16 as well as the Nedbank Cup last 32. So Gavin Hunt against his former team will be saying, we want to add more salt into the wound. I think Kaizer Chiefs should be wary of Devin Tatas of Stellenbosch. On the other side, I think they'll miss Thabo Maleswane, whom I saw when Golden Arrows won 1-0 against Stellenbosch over the weekend. He was red carded. So I think they might try to bring in the Belgium player Henry Stanik to say go and play with Musa Libusa at the back. So those are some of the expectations. But looking at the derby as well, I think I always say that the form is thrown outside the window. It's all about a team who pitches up on the day. But having seen Orlando Pirates with their threats and those Oswin Apolis, Tsapa Morim full of running, I think they might try to give Kaizer Chiefs a tough run for their money. But Kaizer Chiefs on the other side, let's give them credit because they've tremendously improved defensively, of which they will want to score a goal and close a low block, of which you check also Dledilepo, the GRC player there, it's been a fantastic form, it's been scoring goals. Hence, I keep advising to say the management must turn that player into a striker because of their strikers, your Kanye Samayo, your Fio da Silva, are not prolific goal scorers when I watch them. So I don't know what happens to the Nigerian Tiosa Ikodaro, with which he was doing well. I still remember their game against Obich College where they went forward. He was really putting pressure on that Obich College defense. But so far, I think Orlando Pirates on paper to stand a chance to win this Soweto derby.
It is interesting that you said this time around that you give this Soweto derby to Orlando Pirates. If my memory serves me well, in as far as Kaizer Chiefs are concerned, I believe the statistics say Kaizer Chiefs goalkeeper in the form and shape of Peterson had never lost against Orlando Pirates.
In the league derby, yes.
In the league derby.
Very true.
So what do you say about that stat since you have given this upcoming Soweto derby to Pirates? So will that stat this time around fall off, and also be mindful of Peterson's form of late, the number of clean sheets that he has kept so far?
11 clean sheets in total. I think it's a battle for two goalkeepers with good clean sheets. Sipochen of Orlando Pirates has got 12, and then he's got 11. As you know, fans likes to talk. They also, they were not tested. Those are just free clean sheets. But in the end, they all count for them to get an opportunity to be recalled by Hugo Bruce in the international level, at international level. So those are some of the expectations going forward. But then I think for me, the Kaizer Chiefs win in that Soweto derby this weekend can be a draw. So this is how I'm seeing things. But Orlando Pirates on paper to stand a chance. But Peterson as well has done well against Orlando Pirates ever since joining Kaizer Chiefs during the days of your Stuart Baxter, where Kaizer Chiefs will do the double, and also with Athazwane, Kaizer Chiefs will do double. Still remember when Yusuf Mart scored a goal from the center of the pitch. He was in goals as well. Their own goal. That's Peterson. Yes. I think he's done extremely well against. He's only lost against Orlando Pirates in that Nedbank Cup, where Pirates had to win during extra time, courtesy of an individual brilliance of Sandile Mtetwa, a header whom currently is playing for Amazulu, with a wonderful pinpoint cross that was whipped in by Ndabetatwan Dlondlo. Those are some of the expectations. But so far, a wounded tiger is very dangerous. So Pirates do stand a chance.
Oh, there you have it, Africa. You had my colleague Johannes Peta giving the Soweto derby to none other than Orlando Pirates. As Mnyama Ngcobo zikaMakebula, heza Kebula umhlaba kamasipala zawushiya uMabheketwana. And the big question is, will the Kaizer Chiefs goalkeeper in the form and shape of Peterson eventually have his record dented this time around?
Yeah, I'm looking also at Mamelodi Sundowns. They're also in action this week against Amazulu. So which means if they get to collect a victory here, they'll definitely be 11 on points with Orlando Pirates. I think the goal difference as well will play a key factor to say, okay, Mamelodi Sundowns, we are 11 on points with Pirates. Come weekend, Pirates are playing Kaizer Chiefs. Mamelodi Sundowns will play Skukun United on Sunday. And we all know Skukun United, since their inception in the Betway Premiership, have never beaten Mamelodi Sundowns. I think it makes this weekend and the entire week very, very interesting.
Pressure. That's exactly what will be happening this week, especially considering that Mamelodi Sundowns Amazulu fixture that should Mamelodi Sundowns go in and collect maximum points, surely the pendulum pressure will be thrown straight to Orlando Pirates. Rather, that will make them very, very desperate going to the Soweto derby this coming weekend. Still with football and still in Africa, but this time around, let's go to West Africa and zoom into Ghana Premier League. What's happening in that part of the world in as far as their domestic football is concerned?
You know, it was just interesting when I watched Ghana Premier League, Asante Kotoko as well as Hearts of Oak. So I reflected back to 2002 when we used to have the days of Vodacom Challenge.
Vodacom Challenge,
Challenge, where Ghana, Asante Kotoko, as well as House of Oak, they'll come here in South Africa to compete with the likes of your Orlando Pirates, as well as your Kaizer Chiefs,
Kaizer
of
Chiefs,
which this is where we saw the coach by the name of Nsmidendorp coming into the picture after he played, Asante Kotoko played Kaizer Chiefs in that final, Kaizer Chiefs winning on penalties following a goalless draw in full time. So Kaizer Chiefs later on, after the departure of Ted Dumitru, they managed to bring Nsmidendorp on board, although the fans were not happy to. So he's a very defensive coach. As you know, he plays those kind of German football, Bundesliga sort of, where you play on a low block as well as transition. Those are some of the displays that were dished out by Nsmidendorp, especially after Ted Dumitru has left South Africa. This is where also Colin Simbesuma had to leave Kaizer Chiefs. This is where Kaizer Chiefs struggled a bit, and fans at some point rampant, burning the stadium, FNB. I still remember the game against Bloemfontein Celtic in the SAA Super 8 quarterfinals, where you remember Siyabonga Nkosi scoring as well as Rodson Kilambe. So those were the days. So looking at the results that I've seen here from the Ghana Premier League, there's a game that took place between Asante Kotoko up against Young Apostles, where Asante Kotoko collected 3 points, 2-0 victory. And then also the Dreams and the Nations drew to a 1-0 draw. And then the Vision as well winning 3-2 against Beshem United. Then you check as well, Hearts of Oak, they managed to play goalless as well in their game against Berekum Chelsea. And then you check Hearts of Lions losing 2-1 against Bibiane Gold Stars. So I went on to check the log standings, and Madiama, they are currently top of the standings with 45 points. So they've won it before in 2023. So they will be looking to
do it for the second time.
For the second time, but at the same time, you've got pressure from the defending champions, Bibiane, which is currently on 42 points, trailing the very same Madiema on 3 points. So I looked into Asante Kotoko and Hearts of Oak. Hearts of Oak are third on the standings with 40 points, and Asante Kotoko fourth with 38 points, which means that the gap is not that much. So as you know, Asante Kotoko are 25 times champions, and then Hearts of Oak 20 times champions. They can still string a surprise to say, let's also fancy our chance to win this kind of Premier League. It makes things very, very interesting, but let's see. We'll also come and dish it out as time goes on as well.
By the look of things, it looks like it's not only in South Africa where the then big teams like your Kaizer Chiefs in South Africa, they are little bit things of the past. On paper, yes, they had a lot of trophies that they won in as far as domestic football is concerned. In Ghana as well, everyone that you speak to about Ghana in football will always tell you about Hearts of Oak and Asante Kotoko. But this time around, they are sitting at number 3 and number 4, respectively. So that dominance has shifted a little bit, not only in South Africa and also in West Africa.
In West Africa. And then I also tried to look at some of the players. You know, in the past, we used to have players from Ghana, but playing their football here in South Africa. Then I realized, do you still remember the likes of John Arua, who once played Maritzburg United, as well as Bloemfontein Celtic? Kaizer Chiefs also had a striker by the name of Louis Ajimang. You remember during the days of Nsmidendorp, and he was scoring, but not that prolific as well. So Richard Ofor, who's currently playing at Amazulu, is also from Ghana. So I think they've got talent. As we've seen, at some point they were even nicknamed the Bakana. They were just doing absolutely well during the AFCON. That's where a majority of teams were afraid of them, and they were just even giving us South Africans a tough time. So we can see that their league as well, very competitive.
Talking of Ghana league being competitive, sometimes they always say charity begins at home. I must say it was interesting to notice that Ghana, they did not make it for the recent Africa Cup of Nations, but interesting enough, they have qualified for the 2026 Club World Cup that will be co-hosted by Mexico, America, and Canada. It will be interesting indeed to see how will Ghana perform this time around in the FIFA World Cup that will be hosted out in North America. I believe in the next episode we will zoom in and profile their national team, and especially looking at the group stages, that which teams are they grouped with. And Ghana and South Africa, they do have that little bit love lost, especially if one were to look at the previous World Cup qualifiers, where Bafana felt they were robbed by Ghana. So that 2020 cozy relationship was thrown out of the window. But now 2026, it is a big question of, is it a question of Yamadoda Aipeli, or is it now water under the bridge between South Africa and Ghana.
I just remember that young player who played for Marisburg and Mamelodi Sundowns, Diriek. I think this was the player who committed that penalty. And at some point,
Yeah,
the
Rochelle
game was
Terugia.
postponed. And then after Ghana were awarded 3 points, of which there were so many question marks to say, why can't there be a replay? Because some of the fans were not satisfied with the decision from FIFA. So, but then, yeah, it's very, very impressive. But I still want to see South Africa as well as Ghana improving as far as CAF Champions League and CAF Confederations Cup is concerned, because I checked the teams who are currently in the last 8, both CAF Confederations Cup and CAF Champions League. I haven't seen any team from Ghana, which is very, very disappointing, as well as South Africa, very disappointing, because Kaizer Chiefs already bow out. Stellenbosch bowed out as well. Only Mamelodi Sundowns left in the CAF Champions League.
Talking of Africa's CAF Champions League and CAF Confederation Cup, surely there is only one league and one league only that comes to mind that dominates that space in as far as interclub is concerned. There is none other than Egyptian Premier League.
Very, very interesting when you watch Egyptian Premier League, because when I did my preparations, I found that they've got 21 teams in the league. But then, unlike Ghana, with the Ghana Premier League, 18 teams, then you play 34 matches. 3 teams get to be relegated. That's Ghana Premier League. So you go to Egyptian Premier League, 21 teams, you only play 1 game. That means 20 games, and then the team that tops up the position will be champions. This is how
That's easy, most.
very, very easy and straightforward. So then I found teams like your Zamalek, your Pyramids. Currently in the CAF Confederations Cup is Zamalek.
Interclub that dominating.
They're second on the standings with 34 points, trailing through Cleopatra, which is on top by 1 point, because Cleopatra is currently on 35 points. Then you go third of the standings, there's Pyramids as well. Pyramids, the defending champions of the CAF Champions League. This is a team that shocked Orlando Pirates here at home, as well as Mamelodi Sundowns in the final of as well as the semi-finals respectively of the CAF Champions League last season. So they're looking to defend their title, and so far they're doing so well, because I remember at some point they were crowned the CAF Super Cup after winning CAF Champions League when they defeated RS Berkane by 1-0 of Morocco. So it makes things very interesting. There's also Al Ali. Al Ali currently, they've gone it 3 times on the trot, this league title, the Egyptian Premier League. Currently the defending champions. They will be looking to do well as well. So
they're not leading at the moment.
They are not leading. They're currently 4th. So they need to start picking up those points, although the gap is not much, because they're trailing Cleopatra, which is top of the standings, by 2 points. And then Pyramids as well as Zamalek are trailing Cleopatra, trailing by 1 point as well. So I also look at Al Masri. This is the team that played Kaizer Chiefs as well. They are 6th on the standings in the CAF Confederations Cup, currently on 26 points, although 9 points, but mathematically can still win the league with 4 games left for the season. So number 5, I see what did it tag. They're on 27 points. So the league is very interesting, because you play 20 points, then the winner get to be crowned a champion. So I go to number 7. There's Z on 25 points, Moha on 25 points as well at number 8, and then I tried to go down as well. I found that 3 teams as well get to be relegated, similar to the Ghana Premier League. So far, very interesting, and to see also the teams that are performing in CAF Champions League and CAF Confederation Cup respectively doing ever so well in their current league campaign.
Let's hope going forward, teams from West Africa as well, your Ghana, your Nigeria, your Ivory Coast, they'll also come to the part and try and demand a space, a slot in as far as interclub is concerned, because of late we have seen North African teams had been dominating in that front. Obviously, Egypt being the best when it comes to interclub competition. Al Ahly, they have been dominating the CAF Champions League as long as I can remember. And then of late, Mamelodi Sundowns from the Southern Hemisphere, yes, they have been trying, but it's not been easy at all. North African teams, Egyptian teams mainly, yes, about Morocco, they're also trying to demand some space, but Egypt, ibona amabosi when it comes to inter-club competition. Now, move away from Africa and go straight to Europe. What a best place to start looking at the football other than looking at the English Premier League. Arsenal. Huffing and puffing. Last week, they failed to beat the worst team in the league. And then everyone started saying, here we go.
When I woke up, I found that they've played to a 2-2 draw. I'm like, how? Oh my goodness! How do you not
You want to
capitalize?
win the league, but you
You want
can't
to win the
win
league, but
the worst team in the
the
league.
worst team in the league, the worst team, which is when you look at
Rock
permutations
bottom.
mathematically, you'll realize that they will be relegated for me because of currently the teams have
Yeah.
played 28 matches, some 27. So how many matches left? 11. There's enough, and the majority were thinking that maybe it was going to be a lovely draw or something, but because of Arsenal lacked consistency, especially when they drew against the Wolves. So in the other results, Crystal Palace won 1-0 against the same Wolves that struggled, Arsenal struggled to beat. So football is something else.
Everyone beats Wolves of late, or except Arsenal.
It doesn't have the four. That's the main thing about football. So Sunderland's losing 3-1 against Fulham. And then you check Tottenham Hotspur, like I spoke, they went down 4-1 against Arsenal. And Nottingham Forest, they're losing 1-0 against Liverpool. And there's also Man City there winning 2-1 against Newcastle. You see that what they're doing? They're piling on the pressure on Arsenal at the top. So let's see. I'll come up to the standings shortly. And there's West Ham United that played goalless draw against Bournemouth. In the other results, Chelsea there as well, they went on to draw points. 1-0 draw against Burnley. There's Brentford as well going down 2-0 against Brighton of Albion. This is a team, remember, they defeated Manchester United in the FA Cup before they played that derby where I felt Man City would have won the derby by beating Exeter 10-1. So I expected them to do something, but because of a derby, as I've always said, that form is thrown outside the window. They couldn't capitalize on Man City. So you check as well, Aston Villa played 1-0 draw against Leeds United. In terms of the standings, Arsenal are still top with 61 points, followed by Man City as well, 56 points, which means currently Man City are trailing Arsenal by 5 points. So there's still a lot to play for.
5 points with a game in hand.
With the game in hand as well. So I'll come to the fixtures shortly. So Aston Villa at number 3 with 51 points, and there's Chelsea at number 4 with 45 points, and then Man United at number 5 with 45 points. So Man United will be in action this week against Everton. Hopefully, they will try and collect those points. The top 5 look very, very interesting. So with the upcoming fixtures going into the weekend, Wolves will play Aston Villa on Friday. 10 o'clock in the evening, Bournemouth up against Sunderland, 2:30 in the afternoon on Saturday. Liverpool up against West Ham, 5 o'clock, concurrently with the likes of Newcastle up against Everton, and there's Burnley up against Brentford. Later in the evening, there's Leeds up against Man City. So Man City will be fancying their chances to collect as many points as possible, because we all know Leeds United, they're blowing hot and cold, which is a huge of a concern there. On Sunday, we've
No,
got
Man
Fulham.
City will win with that one.
Yeah, I
Hands
think
down.
they'll definitely win,
win
unless
hands
the Leeds United do that the unthinkable like the Wolves did. So
No,
you'll never
that's
know
Man City.
that this is
Man
football.
City, they don't do that.
Fulham will take on Tottenham Hotspur on Sunday, 4 o'clock kickoff, concurrently with Man United up against Crystal Palace. Let's see if Michael Carrick will continue with his 6 matches unbeaten run, because currently he's played 5 matches, won 4 and drawn 1. I still remember the West Ham United won by 1-1 draw. So the last game of the day, the big one, 6:30 in the evening, Arsenal up against Chelsea. I think this is where Arsenal championship pedigree will be tested. We don't want to sing those songs of almost doesn't count like we've seen before.
You said Arsenal, their next assignments against Chelsea.
Yes, on Sunday.
Surely that's going to be a cracker of the game. And also remember that it is also a derby, Arsenal
Definitely, yeah.
and Chelsea. So it's not going to be easy at all for the mighty Gunners. And I believe should they go on and beat Chelsea, maybe, just maybe, they would definitely boost their chances. But I can tell you free of charge that a clash is going to be difficult indeed for the mighty Gunners. It's not going to be easy at all. The boys from Stamford Bridge will not make it any easier for the mighty Gunners. They will make themselves very, very clear that you want to be the champions. You'll have to work hard for it. It is blood and you have to sweat blood and everything if you are to win the English Premier League. And still with the English Premier League, don't forget that come the 18th of April, at the fixture, don't forget that the very same 2 teams who are currently competing or racing for the English Premier League title, Arsenal and Manchester City, they also do have a date come the 22nd of March in the Carabao Cup on the 22nd of March. That is at Wembley Stadium. Surely the mind games will be out at play in Manchester City. Surely they will bring on their A game and try and frustrate Arsenal and display their dominance, of which will be a dress rehearsal of that clash, which will take the center stage come the 18th of April, when these 2 giants, Arsenal and the mighty
Man City.
Manchester City, takes
Top of a
place.
trash bag,
And still with the English Premier League, we can see that Manchester United, yes, they have been doing pretty well since the arrival of their former player in the form and shape of Michael Carrick, but they are still outside the Champions League bracket, Champions League slot, which we all know that as far as the English Premier League is concerned, that slot is reserved for the top 4 teams. So one way or another, Manchester United, they will be hoping that they will see themselves securing the top 4 bracket, which will be enough to see Manchester United go back to continental football, go back to Europe. Talking of Europe, I believe it's time for us now to dive straight to another part of Europe. What a better place to go to Europe other than going to Spain and zoom into La Liga, where we get to see the ding-dong battle between the defending champions, Barcelona and Real Madrid. Oh boy. Last week, we were
Yeah.
laughing at what happened to Barcelona.
Yeah.
This previous weekend, Real Madrid, Los Blancos. What happened?
I just remember one of our production team leaving the studio.
They walked out of the
Yeah,
studio.
because they didn't just
But I
wanna
see a
hear
couple of
that.
smiles this time around.
Yeah, losing against Girona, which was number 12. I was questioning that Barcelona, but at least what a way to bounce back. So if I can just bring the
For Barcelona.
for Barcelona, there's the results as well. Athletic Club, they're winning 2-1 against Elche. And then Real Sociedad playing 3-0 against Oviedo. And then you check, there's Real Betis playing 1-0 draw against Rayo Vallecano. And Osasuna there surprising Real Madrid by 2-1.
That's
So
not a surprise. That's a thrashing. Surprise, Nyalgi 1-0, 2-0. That's a beating and a half.
this one is 2-1. So I'm like, what
That's a
happened?
beating.
So you just waste your consistency to allow Barcelona to overtake you, because last week when we spoke about the two sides, because currently they're the two ones which are battling in terms of winning the league title, because other teams, your Atletico Madrid, they're way behind as far as points are concerned, because Barcelona are on 61 points, Real Madrid on 60 points at number 2. You've got Villarreal on 51 points. You can see Villarreal a little slight mathematically so, but I don't think they can match Barcelona and Real Madrid. So with Barcelona, they've just won 3-0 against Levante. So good results, and that's what a way to redeem yourself, what a way to come back from the embarrassment of a 2-1 loss against Girona. So on the other results, the Athletic Madrid winning 4-2 against Espanyol. There's also Getafe up against Sevilla, where Getafe lost 1-0 against Sevilla. So, and Celta Vigo winning 2-0 against Mallorca. And lastly, Villarreal surprising Valencia by 2-1. So those were the results that took place over the weekend. So by then, this coming weekend, Barcelona will face Villarreal on Saturday, 5:15 kickoff. To those who will be willing to watch Spanish La Liga. There's also Mallorca up against Real Sociedad at 7:30. And then later on at 10 o'clock, Real Oviedo up against Atletico Madrid. Then you come to Sunday, there's Elche up against Espanyol at 3 o'clock. Valencia will face on Osasuna at 5:15. Let's see if Osasuna will continue where they left off against Real Madrid, if they can fancy and another chance, because I see they're outside the top 8, so they should improve because they are a big team as well. Real Betis will face Sevilla at 7:30, and Girona will host Celta Vigo at 10 o'clock. So those are the fixtures where Real Madrid the following day will play Getafe on Monday next weekend. So yeah, it looks interesting so far. Will it be Barcelona? Will it be Real Madrid come game number 38? I think it's a tough one to predict, but let's wait and see.
It is going to be interesting indeed, and as far as Spanish football is concerned, that ding-dong battle between those two Spanish giants makes it very, very interesting. It's a question of you miss, I hate. That is exactly the state of affairs between Barcelona and Real Madrid. And talking of Barcelona, getting back to winning ways, they had to come back and make a statement and win with that 3-0 cushion. But the interesting part for me was that third goal by Fermin Lopez. Did he really have to score such a crack? Surely that goal was just for controlling. We are back in this thing.
And a contender for goal of the season, who knows? Because there's still plenty as well. But what an impressive win and what a wonderful goal, well taken.
Oh, what a well taken goal indeed by Lopez from No Camp. It is going to be interesting indeed. And then from Spain, we go straight to Italy. And then we look at Serie A, where Inter Milan have made themselves very, very clear. They've made their intentions very clear that they're not here to Zodlala. They are definitely separating men from the boys. Currently, in as far as Italian football is concerned, Inter Milan, they are cruising. Listen to this. With a 10 points lead, they are sitting at 64 points. Another boys from San Siro, that is AC Milan.
Yeah.
They only have 54 points. Defending champions in Napoli, they're at 50 points. So they're the defending champions, but they're trailing the current table toppers with a mammoth 14 points. So surely, in as far as Italian football is concerned, Inter Milan, it is some kind of a done deal.
Yeah.
They've got this in the bag. And looking at their winner this weekend, I believe they beat Leeds by 2-0. And Inter Milan, they were on the road. They beat Leeds 2-0 on the road. While the second place, AC Milan, they were playing at home against Parma. They lost at home. You want to win the league, AC Milan, you are playing at home.
You don't
You
collect
still can't
points.
win at home. You still go on and lose against Abo Parma. So surely, it is a little bit of a done deal in as far as Italian football is concerned. Inter Milan, they've got this in their pocket. And then on the other side, the old lady Juventus, they also had a bad weekend. They lost 2-0 at home as well. So in as far as Italian football is concerned, there were some shocking results in as far as Serie A is concerned. But in as far as the league is concerned, they might as well start making peace with it with Inter Milan.
Just like Liverpool in the
Whoever,
EPL.
whoever that is responsible for engraving the Champions Goma and trophies, he might as well start writing the whole the whole thing Inter. Okay, leave the Milan thing for now. But Inter, they've got this in their bag. And now we're changing gears from football and dive straight to cricket. T20 cricket, the World Cup is still very much with us. And Africa is also represented. South Africa and Zimbabwe, they are flying the African flag sky high. And guess what? We are now in the Super 8, and both teams from Africa, that is South Africa and Zimbabwe, they have not lost the match. And as if that's not good enough, Zimbabwe, one of their casualties is none other than the arrogant Australia, who had eventually bombed out of the tournament. And Zimbabwe, surely they are the team to beat. And one of their batsmen, we are on game number 4. They are one of their batsmen, Bennett, is still yet to be dismissed. All the games that he has played, that he has batted, he gets on the crease, he bats forever until the match is finished. So should West Indies eventually get it right and maybe dismiss Bennett, they will be the first team to eventually get it right to dismiss Bennett, because by the look of things, once he occupy that crease, all he says is that kusekhaya la ngiyahlala la angihambi la kuyoze kuyovalwa nhliziyo.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because you just mentioned India as well. They were in action against us South Africans to say, oh, this is the repeat of the test match, test championship. Remember when I still remember those runs, 408 runs, surprisingly so. So, and their coach, Gautam Gambhir, was under siege to say, India will definitely fire the coach because, as you always say, cricket in India is just not sports. It's also religion. It's not just sports, but also a religion. So, and South Africa proved them to, okay, say, we'll beat you in the test championship and we'll be crowned champions. And then, just like they did with Australia previously. And we spoke about Australia crashing out. This one, I never saw it coming. I think Zimbabwe, Afghanistan, they really deserve credit. So, and I'm looking at the number of runs that we posted against India yesterday, 187 for 7 after 20 overs. Although we won the toss and then we decided to bet. I think that's a good decision by our players there. Eden Makram, the captain, impressive there because one of our players as well, David Miller, managed to score 63 runs from 35 balls, of which this particular runs that he scored made him the player of the match. Impressive as well. So then I look at that 1.87.7. I go back to the game against Afghanistan.
Oh, that's Super
The
Bowl
same
over.
score line, you see. So that's why we ended up on the level with
The
187
Super
points
Over
with
match.
Afghanistan. The super overs was the decision to rescue us, but I think Afghanistan on that day deserved credit. But we showed and ended up doing a clean sweep as far as our group standings is concerned, beating the likes of Canada or UAE, the same Afghanistan. Now we are grouped with India. We surprised them. I think they'll have pressure and some panic button to say the games against West Indies as well as Zimbabwe will be crucial and very important. So let's wait and see. But for us, it was just impressive to see the likes of our very own Marco Jansen grabbing wickets, 3 wickets, of which we saw even
4, yeah, 4.
in fact, it's for
4 wickets for
yeah, because the
22
other
runs,
one
yes.
who keep grabbed the race, Keshav Maharaj.
Maharaj
So
grabbed
I
3.
think our experienced players came to the party. So which took me back to our first game against Canada. Lunginkit as well managed to grab 4 wickets. Impressive as well. So far 8 wickets. The only player whom I still want to see more is Kagiso Rabada. Hopefully he will do well going forward. But with Zimbabwe, very, very impressive because
Very impressive.
to represent Africa so well. So I think if they can beat India, then they stand a chance to go to the semi-finals because 2 teams are supposed to progress. So and so far, because we've beaten India, I think we stand a chance. But then I just pray we don't choke and then go all the way to the finals. And who knows, we might go to OR Tamba to celebrate our you see,
To welcome the champion.
because we lost in the finals last year. We can't allow the deja vu
2024, yeah.
again. 2024 against the same India. So if they get to qualify and win against West Indies and Zimbabwe, they might say, South Africa, you won't get it to come because there's opportunity that whereby we might meet them in the final. But yeah, those are some of the permutations going forward. But Shukri Conrad and the players, superb.
Oh, yes, definitely, definitely. Proteas head coach in the foremanship of Shukri Conrad seems to be pressing all the right buttons, getting his team to sing all the right tunes. Their captain kept Aiden Makram making all the right calls. Yesterday, he won the toss and opted to bet, which proved to be a good decision indeed, which was not every dictum, and Jabulani gets to beat India in their own backyard. And also considering that at some stage, South Africa, they were in trouble. The scoreboard read 20-3 thanks to the Miller time. That is the David Miller who came and stabilized the innings, of which was not surprising to eventually see David Miller walking away with the Man of the Match award. And yesterday's game, surely, South Africa, they did well in all departments. That is your batting, your bowling, as well as fielding. Who can forget those 3 wickets by Keshav Maharaj, of which all 3 of them, they were caught by one player. This is the Tristan Stubbs. That's unheard of. It never happened. It can only be the Proteas who come up with those new statistics in as far as the wicket bracket is concerned. Marco Jansen took 4 wickets, having considered just mere 22 runs. Keshav Maharaj, 3 wickets, having considered 24 runs. And Corbin Bosch took 2 wickets, having considered just mere 12 runs. That was an all-round performance by the Proteas.
They tried to bring in Jasprit Bumrah. We know always the impact player when you talk India as far as
Don't
wickets
even
are
go there.
concerned. He grabbed 3 wickets. Yes, in total
Early
they managed
stage, yeah, of the game.
111 runs after how many overs? 18.5 overs. So South Africans, they were just rampant on the day, 76 runs winners. So I think we deserve to go all the way to the final. Especially you beat India at their very own backyard with their
In
82,000
front of
fans.
the 80,000 fans.
You see, so I think for us, we deserve to go all the way. So just as a commendable performance by our very own Proteas.
Commendable performance indeed by South Africa yesterday, beating the host, that is India. Talking of another host yesterday, Sri Lanka. They lost to England. Let's hope Sri Lanka, they will get back to winning ways. We won't mind playing Sri Lanka somewhere in the semis or even in the final, as long as India are out of this. We will take that India's fail at any given time and celebrate it. Now we're changing gears and go straight to our last segment of this show. It is none other than rugby. 6 nations. Oh, it's another question of you miss, I hate. Hey, England, they are the best team in as far as the rugby is concerned. Just by winning just 11, 12 games on the trot, all of a sudden, they call themselves the best team in the world. Last week, they lost, and then this weekend, they lost yet again at home against their neighbors, Ireland.
I spoke about the element of lack of consistency by all the six teams. And then I also asked myself,
France, they're not inconsistent,
they're the defending champions, by the way, so they'll be looking to defend the title as well. So
but they're beating everyone who comes their way.
that's a message to say we are still in with an ample chance to win this
Yeah.
particular trophy. So I'm also disappointed with Wales. I don't know, maybe they don't take rugby seriously at that province.
No,
That-
rugby, they do take, Wales, they do take rugby serious, but they're just going through, I don't know how
They
to.
just don't know what is
I
they
don't,
win.
because if I were to go and check on the stats, you'll get to see that the last time Wales won a match was before the 2023 Rugby World Cup. Right now, Wales, they're sitting at round about how many? 25 games back-to-back losses.
Losses. That's bad. That's bad
That's
from a
bad.
team of Wales caliber. On that note, I do have results of the matches that played over the weekend. And you spoke about Wales. They went down 23-26 against Scotland. Scotland continue where they left off against England. So England were going down 21-42 against Ireland. That means it's a half of a scoreline here. So not pleasing as well at all. France as well, winning 33-8 against Italy. Those were the results. And then they will take a 1 week break, and the resumption of the Six Nations will definitely take place on the week of the 6th of March, where there's some mouth-watering pictures here with the likes of Ireland hosting the Wales. I think they'll be saying, it's an easy victory here. And then Scotland up against the defending champions, France. And then lastly, Italy up against England. So on the standings, France, they're still topping the standings with 15 points, followed by Scotland with 11 points. There's Ireland at number 3 with 9 points, England at number 4 with 5 points, and Italy at number 5 with 5 points. I think Wales were boosted maybe by that bonus point to get that 1 point at the bottom, at the basement, number 6. So very, very interesting so far.
Oh, yes, very, very interesting indeed. It looks like this season, Wales, they might take that wooden spoon yet again. And France, they might as well go on and defend their trophy with so much ease, because they seem to be cruising, they seem to be thrashing everyone that comes their way. And still with the rugby, but this time around closer to home. Here in Johannesburg, Ellis Park Stadium was the venue where the home side, the Lions, welcomed the boys from KwaZulu-Natal, eThekwini Egagasini Kwelikapanana, the mighty Sharks. They were in town.
So to my surprise, the very same Sharks, we spoke about them thrashing Stormers on 2 rounds.
Back-to-back, yes.
Back-to-back victories. So I'm anticipating they will do well. But when I checked the stats to say, do they stand a chance to surprise the Lions at their very own backyard at Ellis Park Stadium? The answer was just no, because they've met 5 times in the last 5 meetings. The Lions have won 4 times, and then the Sharks only once. So which means, having seen the scoreline of a 34 points 22, it was clear to say Lions had an upper hand going into this match. And you check the likes of your Monde van der Berg, your Asnatin Tlabaganya, those players who are serving at the Springboks, they utilized the experience to score. I also saw Siyama Suku scoring for the
Sharks.
For the Sharks. I'm like, oh, at least he's putting that hand up to say, Coach Rasi Erasmus, when you come and call the squad, come June, I will be available for a collab. So those are some of the instances. But on that note, they deserve to win. And then let's check for the upcoming fixtures for the United Rugby Championship. On Friday, we've got Cardiff Rugby up against Leinster. Let's see if Leinster will try to capitalize, because in terms of the standings, they're trailing Glasgow Warriors by 4 points. As Glasgow Warriors are number 1 with 44 points, and they're number 2, Leinster, on 40 points. Then you check Stormers at number 3 with 36 points, level with Ulster. The difference is the point difference, which was the decisive as well. So then number 5, we've got Cardiff Rugby on 36 points as well. I'll stick with the top 8. Munster at number 6 with 35 points. The Lions at number 7 with 29 points. And lastly, the Vodacom Bulls at number 8 with 25 points. As I always say, that I always want South African teams, your Vodacom Bulls, your Stormers,
Lions,
the Lions,
the Sharks.
the Sharks in the top 8, so that come the knockout stages around April, May, they've qualified, and also they get that nod to say, let's go and play for the Investor Cup. As you know, Investor Cup is still in our midst, but the fixtures are later on still to come, and we'll also dish it out to our viewers as well going forward. So, but then so far, URC very, very interesting because teams have played 11 matches, and looking at the fixtures as well, the Lions will take on Stormers on Saturday. So
Another
it's the-
South African derby.
another South African derby. It's gonna be a war. They're traveling to Ellis Park as Thomas. Let's see, John Dobson, the coach there, will be able to do well if possibly because of Lions. With that victory, they'll definitely be oozing in confidence because of that victory. It's taken them outside the top 8 to inside the top 8, 7th on the standings. Because remember, they were number 9, and then also the Sharks number 10 going into that match over the weekend. So the Vodacom Bulls also another derby up against the Sharks. So I think we're also for
Where is that fixture? Is it a Bulls match or is it?
Is it Bulls match? Definitely at
Pretoria.
Loftus, yes, Loftus Stadium. So 5 o'clock is the kickoff of that match, and then there's Dragons up against the Benetton there later on at 7:30. Concurrently with Munster up against Zebri, and there's also Ospreys up against Ulster later on at 9:45, and Connacht up against the top of the standings Glasgow Warriors. So let's see if Glasgow Warriors will hold on. Let's see if the Stormers will be able to bounce back because this is a team at some point they've played 8 matches without collecting a single loss. They've won 8 times, but when they get to meet the Sharks, that's where things started to break. To say they've already tasted 2 defeats. Very, very surprising, but I expected them to do better. But it's going to be a photo finish. Let's wait and see because all the teams are supposed to play 18 matches for them to get that top 8 finish, to play the knockout stages. And also, on that note, they'll be getting a credit into the Investor Cup. So this is what is taking place as far as United Rugby Championship is concerned.
Still with the top 8, which is the knockout bracket. Let's hope from the South Africa's perspective, they will at least have 3 teams in that knockout stages. 4 teams that will be a bonus. I believe currently we've got the 3 teams that are already in the top
Yes.
8 brackets, with the Sharks still outside, still yet to get themselves in that top 8 bracket. But if one were to go back and look at the history, yes, Sharks, they've not been doing well when it comes to the Vodacom United Rugby Championship top 8 bracket. The Lions, yes, they might be inside top 8 for now. The big question is, will they sustain that performance until the end of the season? Talking of the end of the season, that reminds me that that's how we have come to the end of our today's episode.
And then to the cricket fans out there, let's give them the fixtures of the T20 World Cup. We forgot to give them the fixtures that are taking place this week. On Tuesday, we've got England up against Pakistan, 3:30 kickoff. And then on Wednesday, there's Sri Lanka up against New Zealand, 3:30 as well in the afternoon. Then Thursday, we've got the West Indies up against us South Africans. Good luck to our players and also Coach Shukri Conrad as well. The kickoff of that game will definitely be at 11:30 and followed by India up against Zimbabwe. Let's see if Zimbabwe will carry on with that momentum. Then also on Friday, there's England up against New Zealand at 3:30. On Saturday, there's Sri Lanka up against Pakistan. And then Sunday, we've got Zimbabwe up against South Africa. It's going to be an interesting one. I think this will definitely be a decisive to say African derby. Are you going to the semi-finals or not? Zimbabwe, are you going to the semi-finals or not? I think one will definitely bow out, but the 2 are supposed to qualify with teams also from Group B. So it looks very, very interesting so far.
Very, very interesting so far indeed. All the best of luck to the African teams in as far as the T20 Cricket World Cup is concerned. That is South Africa and Zimbabwe. That's how we come to our today's episode. If you happen to like this episode and you haven't done the honorable thing, please do not forget to subscribe, like, leave a comment, and even better, share this episode. Till then, it is
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.